I got one question for you.
What?
One question and only one question. Do you forsake all for the club?
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
No.
Okay, Invitation to Hell, another made for TV film that Wes made along with two other films that same year. 1984 was quite the year for Craven. He made Invitation to Hell, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. They all came out in 1984. Man, that dude was busy. Invitation to Hell, yes, a made for TV film about classism, basically.
Yeah.
This has a lot of similarities, as Kaylee was pointing out, to,
Oh, society.
yeah,
Is
kind of
it?
this
Mm-hmm.
upper echelons of people who think they're better, and they have this club where they are all kind of transformed by their eliteness,
Uh huh.
and they're trying to get people to join the club. And essentially, I mean, spoilers for the film if you haven't seen it, this is like the devil tricking people into, selling their soul for
Mm-hmm.
a better life. And there's one man, a dad, who rises above it all
He
and is
does.
able to literally jump into the pit of hell to save his family. Um, yeah, I enjoyed this one.
Me too.
It's silly and it's
Mm-hmm.
not great,
Mm-hmm.
but I was into it, and I think the things that actually sold me on this movie was how awesome the dad was and
Mm-hmm.
like resilient,
Yes.
and this scene with the veterinarian
Yeah.
and like how he saves the dog, and I loved that whole scene.
Yeah, me too. I really liked the veterinarian scene, and I think the dad is very likable and relatable for the viewer because, like, we all know the bad stuff is happening, and he is just so steadfast in his beliefs, and he's so like nonconformist, like truly nonconformist. Like, he does not want to join the club. He doesn't even really want to take this like corporate job,
No.
but he's doing it for his family so that they can have better things and
Yeah.
everything. And I really liked him, and I related to him a lot. And I mean, yeah, it's definitely made for TV. Like, so
Oh yeah. A lot of commercial
there's a
breaks.
lot of commercial breaks. There's a lot of stuff that's like I would have liked to see more of, that's like hinted at or whatever. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, the dad's just, he's a regular guy who, and the main villain in this, she points out like, you don't care about money at all.
Right.
Like, I have to get you in a different way. I'm going to have to, lure you with sex appeal and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And he's still not falling for it. Like, the devil tries all its tricks, and he's like, no, like, you can't beat me because I'm already happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he's fine with what he has. He has the perfect all-American family, right? He's got the wife, he's got the son and the daughter, he's
Mm-hmm.
got the dog, he's got the house, he's got the career he wants,
Yeah.
he's excelling in his field. She has nothing to offer him that he wants, and this is the first time she's come up against anybody like this, because everyone she encounters in that area, in that field, is they're trying to get promoted, right? He finds when he goes on the computer that everyone's being promoted and everyone's getting better things because everybody wants more,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just content.
Yeah, he's
He's
not
totally,
greedy.
yeah, he's totally fine with what he has, and this is why he's able to see through it. And she tries all of her charm, she tries all of her power. Like, she's trying to sexually seduce him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, he's weak to it because he's a human, and she's an attractive woman, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like I get it. He's, she's using this kind of like spell or power on him, and he's able to like break out of it and be
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want you, I want my wife. Like, I don't want anything you're offering me. And I loved his resilience, and I loved the message of this film, that essentially, like, this idea of classism, and like that some people are just content in being regular folk.
Sure.
Like, he doesn't need to have the money. He
Yeah.
doesn't need to have the power or the sex or any of that shit. He's just happy being where he's at. And that's a great message. And I really, really like that about this film a whole lot. So,
Yeah, me too.
I think it has, kind of something to say. And so for that, I was into it. This is written by the writer of Universal Soldier, which Kaylee and I recently discussed on the channel. His wife is played by the woman who is the love interest in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I also know her from something else, but like that was like an instant like, oh yeah. And then when they showed his kids, I was like, oh shit. I was like, his son is Daryl from freaking Daryl. He also plays Bastion from Neverending Story. And I was like, whoa, this kid was like super popular in the 80s. Like right after this kid like hit some pretty big fame. And then his daughter is freaking Soleil Moon Frye, or aka Punky Brewster, as anyone from my generation would know her. And then the woman who plays his boss is super famous for freaking being in like more episodes of All My Children than anybody. I wrote it down, 1,632 episodes.
Yeah.
Her name is Susan Lucci. Susan Lucci. She's, oh my goodness, 1,600 episodes of a TV show. It's so freaking crazy. The boss, like, she's kind of like the higher up people, but then his actual boss is, what I know him as is, his name is Kevin McCarthy. The actor's name is Kevin McCarthy. When I see him, I immediately think of R.J. Fletcher from Weird Al Yankovic's movie UHF. I fucking love him in that movie. But if we're going to keep it attached to horror, and it's actually kind of relevant to this film, is he is the star of the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And this movie kind of plays out like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Right? So I thought that was cool to put Kevin in here, because this is a nod, clearly, to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, even though this came out after the second Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which Kevin also was in. He just made kind of like a cameo or whatever. So it's cool to see him in that, which... Have you ever seen an Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
I think
They've made a lot of them.
Yeah, I want to say I've seen one, but
Okay.
I don't remember which one.
I love the first, like, 3 iterations of it. The original is great. The 78 one with Goldblum is great, and Donald Sutherland. That's a really good one. And then they made another one in, like, the early 2000s with Forrest Whitaker.
That's
that I
the one
also
that
love.
I think I might have seen.
As well.
Yeah.
And then they made one with, like, Nicole Kidman and I think Daniel Craig called, like, just Invasion. Which was fine, but nowhere near on the level of the other. And then they've made, like, a bunch of other, like smaller budgeted Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a pretty popular storyline. But this definitely has similarities. And to have Kevin McCarthy in this, I thought was pretty cool. So, kind of paying homage to the roots of this idea, this story. This film does very much play out like an episode of Erie, Indiana.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I showed you an episode of Erie, Indiana. The first episode with Foreverware.
Right.
The Tupperware that they're storing the family in. It just kind of felt like Erie, Indiana for me.
I mean, it has that, like, the made-for-TV, like, mildly creepy, but not super creepy. Yeah.
Like, you totally watch this with the kids.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But we did not yet discuss the absolutely hilarious and amazing opening of this movie.
Yeah, the opening is really funny.
It made me laugh. Like, I was like... Because I didn't know what to expect. I don't know anything about this film. This is a complete blind watch for me. And so there's this guy and he's speeding. And he is... Well, I guess he's not speeding. I'm sorry. He's a cab driver. Yeah. Or not cab driver. A limo driver. And he's kind of driving through this, like, richer neighborhood. And there's, like, these 2 babes in bikinis walking by. So he, like, looks, And when he does, he doesn't see Susan, right? Isn't that her name? Yeah, Susan Lucci. I don't know what her name is in the movie. I didn't write that down. I'm sorry.
Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah, Jessica Jones. Yeah, right. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Duh. She gets run over by the car. Just boom, like right under the car. And then like he's like, oh shit, and he looks back and she just like springs up like freaking, Dracula or Nosferatu or something, like but super fast, and then like points her finger like a gun, pulls her finger trigger, the back window explodes, the guy starts melting. And then is like
funny.
deflated in the front seat dead.
Yeah.
And like everyone outside is going, on with their business because they're like in on it, right? They're that gives you a good indication that everyone in this town is like, part of her thing. So he very much gives you, because it's funny, this guy is designing this suit, this helmet that can detect non-human life forms, and if they're benign or malignant, and like it shows us the audience that she's not human,
which we already
and
knew.
it's like, bro, I figured that.
Yeah.
Right, but it's supposed to tell us too that, I mean, that's probably one of the most convenient plot devices in the history of film.
The suit is super convenient.
Is that he's designing a suit that not only reads that there's non-human life forms, but it also has like, yeah, it's designed for heat.
Yes.
And it's also designed to have like a gun that shoots lasers out of the hand.
Yeah.
It's like, what can I write into this script that I need?
Right.
Like, what does this suit do? It's like makes him a superhero.
Yeah, essentially.
I'm surprised it didn't make him fly and whatever the hell.
Maybe
else.
it did, and they're like, we can't have him do that.
I mean, it would have helped for his fall.
Yeah.
Fall from grace.
Yeah.
So just the opening rules so hard. It's the kind of opening that I would 1,000% edit in to like, our opening credits for like a channel that, like for our channel.
Yeah.
Like when I did Slasher Sunday and I have those like clips. This is so good. Just the way she springs up and points her finger and it blows up. It killed me. Like I was laughing so hard.
Yeah. I know.
It's so my kind of scene. So if nothing else, if this had nothing else going for it, that would be enough. This movie its DOP is Dean Cundy. Dean Cundy is obviously famous for freaking so many things. He did Jurassic Park. He did all sorts of shit. But Halloween, of course, anytime I see Dean Cundy, I'm going to immediately think. And he did The Thing as well. So that's wonderful. And then we got the composer of this movie did the music for Cobra. Good old Cobretti himself.
Interesting.
Sylvester Stallone. Speaking of Rambo from our last, and speaking of Bruno, the little midget shrunken down guy in the last movie, Swamp Thing, we get him again here in his full, true, tall, normal state. He's the security guard that like blocks the gates to hell. And he always has to walk in front of the camera and cross his arms as it goes to commercial.
Yeah, that's his job.
Yeah, that's his job. Be cross-arm guy.
Cross-arm guy.
And then, the whole vet thing where she's like, because the dog always knows, right? New house. We've been saying this.
Yes.
We're going to start pointing this out every time. People move to a new house and the dog always knows. It is the tropiest shit in horror.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. And so, oh man, when they like buy into the club and then the mom like tries to take the dog to the vet and is telling the vet to like put it down and like she wants to stay and watch, and like the dog has always been a nuisance and like dangerous from the get, and like he lies to her and is like, the nearest veterinarian's office to me is like 50 miles and like I have to keep him for observation or whatever, and then we can do it later or whatever, and like he calls the dad and brings him over and keeps the dog like at his house like to save the dog.
That vet. What a good guy.
What a great character.
Yes.
Like hell, and it makes you think he killed him.
Yes.
Right? And then the dog runs out and he's like,
Yay!
oh, and you're like, yes.
Yeah, little Howard's alive.
Right. And that veterinarian is, yes, in a couple John Hughes movies. He's in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but he's also probably where I knew him best from is the husband in Home Alone, who Catherine O'Hara's character. She's trying to sell or like get tickets on an earlier flight, and she's like offering him money and everything. And he's like, "Oh, all right." So as soon as I saw him, I'm like, "Hey, Home Alone dude."
Home Alone guy.
And let's see. That poor secretary.
Yeah.
She's just trying to do the right thing.
She was.
And she got herself killed and then like eviscerated. Incinerated.
Yeah. She was just trying to do the right thing.
The kids' voices when they're attacking Dad.
Or scary gremlin voices. That's yeah, they totally change because they're evil. They're not really them.
Kids did a good job.
They
did. Their scary voices and faces. So
yeah.
Good on them for that because that could have been stupid. In case you haven't seen the South Park episode and you don't know this information, let me reiterate. Dressing up like Hitler in school isn't cool.
It's not.
No.
Nor is going to a Halloween party dressed as a Nazi.
It was very convenient that it was a costume party. But it is so funny that the guy is there dressed
Nazi.
In full Nazi gear.
Yeah. That's in poor taste for sure.
Like he is straight up like freaking Nazi, general. Yeah. It's so fun. I was just like
what?
What, dude?
He's just
but everyone there, like they're from
all,
hell.
Yeah, they're
right?
fine with it. They're probably like, best costume, bro. High five.
It's possible that when they're taken into hell, that their bodies are taken over by evil spirits that were like trapped in hell, and that guy is like a Nazi. That he's one of the Nazis from World War II. And like he was just like, I'm going to dress how I used to dress for this party.
Because why not?
Yeah, maybe that was Hitler himself. Who knows?
Hitler himself. Maybe.
I mean, if any dude's going to hell.
Yes, it would be 1,000% Hitler.
Yeah. So maybe that's Hitler. I could buy that.
Yeah, why not?
That would have been kind of cool. That would have actually been kind of cool. I wouldn't have mind that inclusion of like people at the party are dressed as like horrible figures, and we start to find out like they're breaking out of hell by taking over, civilians' bodies like normal people and coming back from hell. That would have actually been really, really cool. I'd have dug the shit out of that. That would have been super cool. They could have done a mess of awful people throughout time. And they're all like kind of escaping hell through this like loophole by the devil.
Yeah.
Right? Like you did the devil's work and like I'm now paying you back by, putting you back on earth to do my work more. Do more of the devil's work.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of putting together like another Third Reich, a Fourth Reich.
Fourth Reich.
Yeah. That would have been cool. I would have been super on board for that. Damn. Missed opportunity there. Anyway. Yeah. And just like Mickey Knox from Natural Born Killers says, there's only one thing that vanquishes a demon.
Love.
That's love.
That's love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's exactly what happens here. Only love can kill a demon. Right? Right, Wayne Gale?
Right.
So yeah. And because of that, he gets his family out of hell. He goes down into hell just like Bill and Ted did. And, Bill and Ted actually has a really, really good depiction of hell. I don't know if you've ever seen Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Not the Bogus Journey.
Oh, man. There's actually, for a comedy and for a silly movie, like, the depiction of hell that Bill and Ted go into is actually pretty freaky. And just like that kind of liminal space and purgatory feel, and just her like kind of being stuck in this forever limbo of like playing the piano frantically and like not being able to control herself, and she's kind of in her own hell, and the kids kind of like trapped in the corners without their parents. And it's just I like the depiction of hell here, and they have like this light beam on them that he can't break through until like he accepts like what he has to do, and like is able to like relinquish all this like gear and protection to make himself vulnerable enough to be able to love and to take his family back. And this is like what conquers the devil or whatever she is, some demon or whatever. And because of that, he now is transported back to his house, and he comes outside, and it's told that like the entire country club caught on fire and will not stop burning.
Yeah.
So he's like completely vanquished and killed everybody in town
Yes.
that like went to be promoted and went for an evil life.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Which is kind of fucked up because Punky Brewster, Soleil Moon Frye's character, did not want to go and was yanked in there.
Yeah,
so
she
like
didn't wanna go.
there's probably people in there that really didn't want to be there, and now
Sure.
they're like dying and their souls are probably trapped in hell forever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a really grim way to think about the ending.
Yeah. I it sucks, but
Yeah. Like I don't blame him. Like he had to do what he had to do. But
Exactly.
it's it's the devil's
Innocent,
work. It's not it's not always a good outcome when the
Not
devil's
always.
involved.
no. Most of the time not.
No, probably not. So that's that. Invitation to Hell. I liked it.
Me too.
I was really into it, and I'm looking forward to Chiller. That's another made-for-TV film by Wes Craven. I've liked both. Now,
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed Summer of Fear, and I quite enjoyed this. As silly
Me
as
too.
parts are in this, Wes Craven does some pretty fun made-for-TV movies.
He does. Yeah. I've liked both of them so far too, so.
So we'll see. After he made Nightmare on Elm Street,
Right.
he made Chiller. So let's see what he did, because he made both of these before Nightmare. You would think his best work should be after Nightmare.
Sure.
Because this is where he really hit his stride, and Nightmare is, for me, easily the best thing he's ever made. So like, and I think Chiller was like the next thing he made after. In fact, I'm positive it was the next thing he made after Nightmare. So like, how did he fare with another made for TV film?
Yeah.
I got to show you what John Carpenter's made for TV horror movie. At some point, he made a couple made for TV movies, Elvis, and then of course Someone's Watching Me, which you haven't seen, but that's a good movie. But yeah, that's that. Next up is The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. Kaylee will get to see the infamous
Beast.
opening of the movie.
Yeah.
So, other than that, guys, if you have not seen this, it's on.
Tubi.
Of course it is. Just like all his damn movies. Although, Chilling. What did I say?
Chiller.
Chiller, sorry. Chiller is not. Chiller's on Pluto, which I'm not happy about. But it's also on Roku TV, I think.
Oh,
And Roku
okay.
TV, I think, is better because Pluto. Oh no, I'm thinking of Plex.
Oh.
Plex
Yeah,
and
you
Pluto, I
think
think,
Plex.
both have terrible
The really
amounts
long
of ads.
Yeah.
Tubi's are freaking totally awesome. Very not distracting at all. It actually gives me like quick bathroom breaks and stuff.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm actually like, oh, I only have like maybe 30 seconds.
But yeah, you know. how
And you
much
run
time
off
have.
and you grab some water or you pee and then you run right back. It's totally fine. I have no problem watching movies like that.
Neither.
Like, if they had every movie on Tubi, I would have no problem canceling everything else
Yeah,
and
just
watching
watching
it
Tubi.
like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me at all. The way they do their ads never bothers me.
Yeah, same.
I've heard people be like, there's way too many ads and this and that. I'm like, are you watching Tubi?
Right.
Because that ain't the case with Tubi.
No.
It's definitely the case
With Plex.
with Plex.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
For sure.
Like 2.5 minutes.
They're long.
3.5 minutes sometimes. Literally. It'll
Yeah.
say it up on the screen. It'll say like 280 seconds.
Yeah, and you're just like, what?
And you're like, what, dude?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm going to go watch another movie while these ads run.
Right.
So, anyways, all right, we'll see you next time for The Hills Have Eyes